Greetings, Threads by Neff here, and today I'm going to show you how to sew one of my favorite shirt patterns, Butterick 5997, and I'm doing option D today. So you've got your pattern all cut out, now you just need to pick out a fabric, and I chose this beautiful floral fabric and I'm just in love with it. I think it's perfect for a blouse. Now it's time to cut out those pattern pieces 3, 17, 5, 8, 7, and 16. Be sure to transfer all of your markings from your pattern pieces to your fabric. You're also going to need to cut out interfacing for piece 17, 7, and 8. So one of the first sewing steps is to sew down these pleats that we have in the front of the shirt on piece number 5. You're going to sew on the edge of that fold. So we're doing 4 pleats on each side of the shirt, and this is what it should look like. So we're going to do the same thing we did to one side of the shirt to the other side, and we're going to form those pleats. And here I'm just using an iron to really get those nice creases in the shirt. So we're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're going to sew right along the edge of this fold here. Once you're done sewing down all of your pleats, you want to be sure to clip off these loose threads we have here. On the wrong side of the fabric, we're going to sew down these fold lines on both left and right side of pattern piece number 5. This step is going to give the detail in the bust area of the blouse. Now we're ready to sew along the shoulder seams and the side seams with piece number 5 and piece number 3. You're going to put them right sides together. So you want to make sure you iron down your interfacing on your fabric, and we're going to pin piece number 7 to the front right sides matching notches and all dots. Be sure you're only stitching within the dots on the stitch line. So I trimmed off a little excess and I folded that piece number 7 to the inside of the shirt. Now I'm just ironing it down. You want to make sure you're pressing in between sewing so you can have that nice crisp look with all of your seams. So now I'm going to do a basting stitch all the way around the collar of the shirt. So next I fold up the single notch edge of piece number 8 and then press 1 centimeter. We're going to trim ½ centimeter of what we just pressed. Piece number 8 that you didn't fold up, we're going to put that right sides together with the piece that we did fold up, and we're going to stitch those 2 pieces together. So once you turn it right side out, it should look just like this, and this is going to be our collar for the blouse. So I'm going to head over to the machine and I'm going to attach the collar matching all the arrows together. So now that piece number 8, our collar is attached, we just need to sew by hand the remainder of the collar down. So I set my stitch to number 4 so that we can sew our gathering stitches on our sleeves. So our gathering stitches at the top of the sleeve are going to be in between both small dots. So here you can see both gathering stitches, and you're going to do this for both sleeves. So I folded each sleeve in half and I matched at the notches, and I'm just going to sew down these seams where the notches are. I like to serge. It's not required, but it gives the shirt a really nice, clean, finished, professional look. So this is piece number 17, and we're going to stitch the ends of the sleeve band together. Next, we're going to turn in the seam allowance on the unnotched edge of the sleeve, and we're going to press it. So the sleeve on the right, I've already trimmed 1 centimeter off of the seam allowance that we folded up. So I've already pulled my gathering stitches, and you can see I have a nice ruffle for the top and bottom of my sleeve. So next we're going to pin our sleeves to our armhole with right sides together. So I'm putting the sleeve in with right sides together, and I'm making sure that I match my notches. Once you have the sleeve in right sides together and all your notches are lined up, you're going to start to adjust your gathers, and then you're going to go ahead and pin and then stitch that seam down. Still pinning. I love to use a lot of pins for my sleeves. I like to use a lot of pins because when I'm sewing on sleeves and you're going in a circle, the fabric may move if you don't use enough pins, especially when you're dealing with gathers on a sleeve. So I'm finally done pinning both of my sleeves to the armhole, and now we can go take it to the sewing machine. So I'm only going to do one stitch here, and then I'm going to serge the inside. But if you don't have a serger and your fabric doesn't fray or you have pinking shears, you can sew 2 stitches for the nice secure shoulder seam. Remember those gathering stitches we sewed on the shoulder of the sleeves? Well, we're going to remove those. So I'm just taking them out very carefully here because this fabric is so delicate. If you use a stitch over 4 or at 4, you should have pretty big stitches, but I could see mine once I turned the shirt right side out. So I'm just removing these with my seam ripper. So now I'm serging the armhole of the inside of the sleeves. So here I'm sewing on the other sleeve, and it's the exact same method that we just used for the other sleeve. So here I'm pinning the sleeve band to the sleeve, and I'm making sure to match my notches and my seams, and you're going to want to be sure to adjust your gathers. Then we're going to do a base stitch. We're going to trim and press the seam towards the sleeve band. I missed my footage, but we are going to fold the cuff along the fold line. We're going to press it, and then we're going to slip stitch the pressed edge over the seam. When I'm hemming, I like to serge the raw edge, and then I'll do my final stitch. So I folded up about 5/8 of an inch of the bottom of the shirt, and now I'm just stitching right in the middle of my serge stitch. Now I'm just pressing the hem for a nice flat finish. Here's my finished product.
I am sharper than